Hey everybody, and welcome back to this Premier League chat. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm doing yeah, pretty well myself. So said I'd make this video on the Friday. We know now that Liverpool are mathematical champions of the Premier League. With 7 games to spare, which I don't know if that's one of the earliest times someone's won the league, but it's a substantial, it's a substantial margin, isn't it? 23 points clear of Man City. We'll see how far that is. They're obviously got to play each other next, which is, I don't know if that's pointless or fascinating. But it's done and it's dusted. Liverpool have been the best team in the country, without a shadow of a doubt. Only the most hardened of Everton fans or Man City fans would probably deny that. But they have been, and people dislike Liverpool, I guess, and have enjoyed the 30 years or so that they haven't won the league. But I look at this team and I can't help but like them. There's just this team collective spirit of, they have a few incredible players, who can conjure something out of nothing, like a Mane, a Salah, Firmino. But it's a team of grafters, and it's a team who have won the league as a team. I feel like Man City have been wonderful champions. However, there's always that kind of question mark about them of is this just a team of exceptional individuals at the top of their game, a la kind of Galactico status, or is this, a team which, and that's not to diminish anything Man City have done, but in terms of a kind of, an actual kind of playing beyond what they're capable of, Liverpool, I think, more than the sum of their parts is what I'm trying to say. I think Man City have been the sum of their parts. They have a collection of incredible footballers. I think Liverpool, some of their players, when you look at someone like James Milner, who's been instrumental for them this season, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is probably one of the best right backs in the world right now, if not the best right back in the world. Andy Robertson, when Liverpool signed Andy Robertson from Hull, did anybody seriously think he was going to go on to be one of the best left backs in the world? No. Jordan Henderson, often, much maligned as a bit of a flop, really, since his move from Sunderland. There's a lot of players, Salah, no one saw Salah coming in and being the incredible force that he has been for them. Mane, I think people thought he was a great player, but he's really excelled. Every single one of their players has gone above and beyond what people think they're capable of. Van Dijk stepped up a level. They've just been a wonderful, wonderful team, and massive congratulations to them. I look forward to watching them and seeing how they do next season as well, and seeing how it's going to be fascinating, because you get the feeling like this Liverpool team could go on for another couple of seasons and dominate the league without really needing to buy anyone. You feel like that team kind of collective spirit, but things change on there, We'll see, won't we, really? Let's talk about the match last night, which sealed it for Liverpool. I always think it's a little bit of a shame sometimes when a team wins something without having to play a game. I always feel like it's a little bit of a shame. I like to see them actually win the game and then win the trophy or whatever. But I'm sure Liverpool will take it anywhere they want. Anywhere they can take it, they will. So it was the Chelsea v Man City game. We're kind of working in reverse order. We've got quite a lot to talk about in there, but kind of fascinating game. I will say, great win for Chelsea. I know it's kind of been overshadowed, but a really good win for Chelsea. That's the type of win which they need to get that confidence up and get that going, and it was a really good win. And I generally think this Chelsea team can go on and do some good things. I don't think they're going to challenge Man City for second or anything, but I think they're going to secure a Champions League place fairly comfortably, and then we'll see where they kind of push on from there. But I think Pulisic was absolutely outstanding in the game. His goal was fantastic. He could have had another goal. Um, yeah, he was absolutely outstanding. I thought his goal was so well taken. He went past Benjamin Mendy like, I don't know, like I had to kind of double check to see if Mendy was injured or something because he just breezed past him. You know, um, I felt like at that point, like as weird as it is, like Mendy could have fouled him because there was another player there. I don't think he would have got sent off. I think he would have been yellowed. But anyway, what's done is done. Um, and then Kevin De Bruyne with just an incredible free kick. I didn't get to watch the actual game because it was on BT Sport, and unfortunately, I don't have BT Sport. It's like the one thing I've got. Sky. I've got obviously BBC. I've got Prime. Don't have BT Sport. So I did really want to watch this game, but unfortunately couldn't. But yeah, absolutely brilliant free kick. We've seen like a few free kicks now since like it feels like a higher percentage than normal of free kicks going in. And I had this theory that maybe it's because players in their back gardens or whatever have been practicing them, you know, during lockdown. And like the one thing they can practice is free kicks and things like that. And maybe they've just got a bit better, or maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. But or maybe goalkeepers have got a little bit rustier. But I generally don't think there was much that Kepa could have done with that free kick. It was outstanding. It was a really good free kick. And yeah, City back in it then, and you're kind of feeling maybe, but you know, another counter attack for Chelsea, and a goal line scramble, and Fernandinho blatantly hitting the ball off the line with his hand, just completely blatantly. Like the funny thing is, I know that we've kind of dismissed like VAR a lot. But without VAR, the ref apparently didn't see that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he did see it, and he just waited for VAR anyway. But you know, you get the feeling that something like that might have been missed. I also got the feeling that if VAR hadn't have caught that, and it took quite a long time. I was watching like some fan zone stuff. It took quite a long time for them to actually make that decision when it seemed completely blatant. I think that it would have been hilarious if that had been cancelled and then Man City had gone on to win it. I think that the VAR studios would have been burnt down if that had happened. But as it is, you know, it obviously didn't happen like that. And Fernandinho rightly sent off there. You know, it was blatant as like Suarez in the World Cup, wasn't it? I think Suarez. Yeah, I think it was Suarez against Ghana. I think it was. That worked out for them, but this obviously didn't, with Willian, you know, scoring the penalty, rocking up, and yeah, good performance, I think. Kyle Walker cleared off the line just before that from Pulisic with a great goal line clearance, really brilliant. But yeah, well deserved win, I think, for Chelsea, and a really important win for them. Definitely, but yeah, you know, obviously the big story overshadowing everything is Liverpool winning the league, and absolutely fair play to them. They have been, you know, the best team in the country, you know, out there. And I think, I wonder, the Atletico Madrid exit in the Champions League was a weird one. It was a weird one. They did go through that patch where they were grinding out results in the league, but they weren't playing to the kind of best of their ability. I think we saw in the Crystal Palace game, Liverpool turning it back on again, you know, unfortunately for me, on there. Yeah, we have to start, I guess, at Leicester, Brighton. Did we cover? No, we didn't cover that before, did we? I'm trying to think. No, we did cover that before, sorry. Oh, getting mixed up with the days. There's so much football. We have to start with Man United against Sheffield United. I did watch this game. It was very one-sided. Sheffield United have come out of the lockdown as, I don't know, they've just come out of it really badly. Yeah, Man United absolutely smashed them. Like there's no, you know, walking away from that. Absolutely smashed them. You know, Martial gets a lot of credit. He doesn't get a lot of credit. He gets a lot of like criticism from people for whatever reasons. I always feel I mean, Phil, on the one hand, if you're Man United's main striker and you're not banging in, 25 goals a season, you're going to get criticism. Because there's an expectation. There's people whose footsteps you're following in there. Van Persie, Van Nistelrooy, Cole, York, Sheringham, Cantona, over the years, who have been, phenomenal. Just pure goal scorers. And the game has changed now. We see that, by the way, Shearer would bang in 30 goals a season for Blackburn, but no one really gets that close to it anymore. Probably Harry Kane has been kind of the closest to that. We even saw like Kevin Phillips banging a ton. The game has changed. Strikers are expected to do a lot more now than just score goals. But I thought he took all his goals like brilliantly. This could have been 5 or 6 now if Rashford was a bit sharper. I say that he got 2 assists, but his finishing was a little bit like he's been busy saving the country during the lockdown. to be fair to him. And yeah, great cross from Aaron Wan-Bissaka for the third one. Really good. And that's great for Man United. They've come out of this lockdown, I think, and they looked pretty good. They looked pretty sharp. As I said, I think they were a little unlucky not to beat Chelsea when they played them. I think it was Chelsea, wasn't it? Yeah. Was it Chelsea? Who did they play? I can't even remember now. Arsenal? No, it wasn't Arsenal. I can't even remember. Hang on, I need to look now because it's going to bug me. Tottenham. Sorry, not Chelsea. Tottenham. Yeah, I think they came out a little bit unlucky not to beat Tottenham in that one, but they made sure of it here. I think that early goal did help them. Scoring in 7 minutes, and then just before half time as well. That they were in complete control of this game. It never looked like Sheffield United were going to get back into it, to be fair. And Pogba, Fernandes, playing in midfield together. Matic kind of sitting a little bit. It looks like a really good team, doesn't it, really? They're looking pretty good. I think central defence, I worry a little bit about. I think Luke Shaw's showing glimpses that he can be a good enough left back. Matic, I worry like the legs on. And I think the right wing position for them, they played Mason Greenwood, and I feel like he didn't really get into the game. I think Mason Greenwood wants to play where Anthony Martial is playing. In reality, he's just playing on the right there. And I don't think that's his position. I don't really think they have any much. Like Daniel James, I don't feel is ready yet. That's a position where I think lots of people have been talking about Jadon Sancho. I think that is a position where Sancho would come in and do a fantastic job there. It's a position I think they need to probably fill in the summer. Whether they do or not, with everything that's going on, I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, Sheffield United though, really fallen off the pace, haven't they? With those 2-3-0 losses, like they're playing like people expected them to play when they came into the league. They're obviously safe. I don't know if mathematically they're safe yet, but they are obviously safe. But I can see them drifting down to mid-table potentially. They've got Spurs next. It's not an easy game. But it does mean that this kind of European place position is hotting up. I'm sure Man United would have possibly. I think they would have wanted to see Chelsea lose because. Oh, sorry, they would have wanted to see Chelsea lose because they. Although Man City would win, I don't know if they would prefer Man City or Liverpool to win the league. Actually, probably Man City, weirdly. It would have meant that they would have been in 2 points of Chelsea for fourth, which fifth might get Champions League, but you want to make sure, don't you? I think the one who could be in danger of dropping off a little bit is Leicester. There's still 6 points in it, but I feel like Man United and Wolves are going to be pushing hard. And I don't know if Spurs are going to have enough to come through. I think those kind of losses to Chelsea and Wolves there kind of not good for them. So they might have to settle for seventh, I think. And then we'll kind of see from there who else comes about. But yeah, Sheffield United though, poor. But they've put a lot of effort in this season, and you know, we'll see how they kind of come about. So Newcastle v Aston Villa. Great to see Dwight Gale get on the score sheet. Not something you often kind of see. Aston Villa holding in for coming back into it with a fairly late goal from El Mohammadi. How vital that will be, we'll have to wait and see. But it does mean it's so tight down the bottom now. Villa, Bournemouth, West Ham, Watford, all within a point. There, and these three all equal, just goal difference, separating them. So it's so tight down the bottom there. As I said, I think Brighton are going to have done enough to, not quite yet, but I think they've got 6 point cushion from the drop, which I don't see the others making up. So I think they're going to be okay. And now it's just about these four. Which of these four are going to make up the bottom two? Norwich need a miracle. They really do. They're 6 points off. They would both probably need to win pretty much all their games. We've seen it happen before, but I think of Leicester with Nigel Pearson and stuff like that. But I just think it's too late, and I don't think Norwich are a good enough team to even do that. Sometimes you see a team down there who you're like, on paper they should be doing better. You can see that with maybe West Ham and Watford, but I don't think Norwich. I think Norwich are doing exactly what I would expect them to do. In all honesty, 1-0 win for Everton. Kind of pushes them up the table a little bit. People were saying that they kind of hope maybe they could. Yeah, they're 4 points off 7th, which could. I don't know if that gets Europa League. I think just 6th might, if the whole Man City thing happens. Not quite sure on how that Europa League works. I don't know if Everton are going to be able to pull back. I mean, they were playing against a pretty poor Norwich side, and they won 1-0, which I guess is all you've got to do, but they need something. On paper, they can look a pretty decent team, but whatever is kind of happening there is not that good. That's a weird thing to say when they won, but things are just not clicking, I think, with Everton. And I think Norwich have just come up against it's just been too much for them. I think we might see some players leave Norwich. The obvious ones, I guess, being Max Aarons, who's kind of done okay, and Todd Cantwell potentially, I think, as well. Might go to some larger clubs. Not sure if that many other players might, but we'll see. Wolves beat Bournemouth. Again, Bournemouth in serious trouble. Raul Jimenez, 15 goals this season so far. It's pretty good. He is a really good striker. And that Wolves side is decent, isn't it? Like, you look at it and you're like, yeah, they're pretty strong. And that Bournemouth side, I look at it and I go, oof, I worry about you, Bournemouth. I really do. They're right down there. 18th place. Newcastle next. It's you get into the territory where you're like, when you play these teams around you, so Watford playing Southampton, Bournemouth playing Newcastle, it's like you've got to win those games. I know there's weirdly 12 points difference between Bournemouth and Newcastle, which is, there's only 10 points difference between Newcastle and Man United. It's crazy. But yeah, you have to say Newcastle kind of in and around there. So that's the type of game which they've got to look to pick up points in, I guess. But I don't know if they will. Honestly, they're just not playing well. They didn't have a shot on target the whole game. And then we get on to Liverpool Crystal Palace, which I've been hoping to avoid. Speaking of batterings, yes, this was an utter battering. The one thing I will say about this is, and I'm probably biased as a Palace fan, is number one, our keeper Gaita got injured before the game. So Hennessy came in, who I'm not a fan of, and did not cover himself in glory. Having said that, the Liverpool goals were pretty spectacular. Secondly, Wilf Zaha went off after, 15 minutes, I think it was. 15 minutes. We can't afford to lose a player like that when we're playing against Liverpool. The free kick from Trent was spectacularly amazing. Salah scored a great goal. Don't even talk to me about Fabinho. It's like, what was that? And I didn't see the Salah goal because I stopped watching because I was like, this could get messy. Um, yeah, it was painful. Yeah, we didn't have a shot on target. We got absolutely spanked. I say that, but we got beaten by the best team in the country, probably the world right now. Yeah, we got hammered by them. This was a different, like a completely different Liverpool to the one who played against Everton. Like they just seemed to suddenly be like vintage Liverpool. So thanks, thanks for that, Liverpool. But yeah, so not a great day for Palace. Does it end our hopes of European places? I don't think it ends the hope. We're 3 points off Spurs, 7 points off, but you know, a lot of these teams who've got to play Liverpool will lose to Liverpool, I'm sure. Well, maybe not, because Liverpool might be on the beach a little bit now, but we'll see. But yeah, they're a very good team. We were on the wrong end of them when they probably wanted to really prove a point, and yeah, you know, we've done it. So big game against Burnley next. You know, we're same points as them. I'm really hoping we can get up a ninth plus. Single digit finish would be incredible for us. Europe might be a step too far. I think some of these teams, I think, are coming back into form. The Wolves, Man United, Spurs look like they're coming back around. So yeah, we'll kind of see on that one. But yeah, vintage Liverpool, really. They look spectacular, and they are spectacular. Yeah, Benteke was out as well, who I think would have done a really good job against them. A big, strong man up front to hold it up, and replace it with Townsend, who's good, but he obviously doesn't offer you what Benteke does up front. They both offer the same amount of goals, incidentally. But yeah, Liverpool. I mean, this was just vintage Liverpool. They were superb and thoroughly deserved the win. It was painful to watch. Hence, after Fabinho, I was like, okay, I need to stop watching this because it's depressing. On there, I don't usually stop watching a football match, but when you're 3-0 down to the champions of England elect and the Champions League winners, you kind of know, like, this isn't going to be Istanbul again. This is a different Liverpool team. If you remember all those years ago, Dwight Gale's hat-trick, Liverpool were a lot more fragile then. They're not fragile anymore. They're very, very solid. Yeah. Burnley versus Watford. Jay Rodriguez with a neat little header from a Dwight McNeil cross. Was unlucky not to get a bit more. And yeah, Watford, even game, but that little bit of quality just does make a difference. I think there. Burnley will be pretty happy with that win after what was a pretty terrible loss to Man City. They really bounced back well from that. So we'll see. 42 points, safe for another season. Burnley, job done. Not going to make Europe, I don't think, again, and possibly don't want to after people felt like it was possibly going to get them relegated. I mean, if you think about it, Burnley, I don't know if we could see like oh yeah, we can, hang on. There was talk of them. People were talking about how bad they were doing at the start and stuff like that, and four losses in a row there, and people suddenly start talking about Sean Dyche, and they're like, oh, has he got to a point whereby it's all he can do? But look at that, unbeaten in a lot of games there. Right back up mid-table. Burnley, fantastic, for them, I'm sure. Southampton Arsenal, the game I think every neutral wanted to see Southampton win, but they literally gave it to Arsenal on a plate. So their first goal was just comical. I don't know what Alex McCarthy was thinking. Aubameyang hit the kind of underside of the crossbar just before that with he probably should have finished, but Edward Nketiah, I love that. Not Eddie Nketiah. They put Eddie up here, Eddie Nketiah. And Joseph Willock, not Joe Willock. So Eddie Nketiah there, but then man of the match, Edward Nketiah. Yeah, and then Alex McCarthy just, for whatever reason, just passing it to Nketiah. It was a weird one. Like, it was a terrible pass. Absolutely horrific. It beyond, like, it was almost a Loris Karius kind of event. And then I feel like Southampton were kind of coming back into it a little bit, and there was some good saves from Martinez. He did do pretty well. And then Jack Stevens gets a red card for bringing down Aubameyang late on. Joe Willock steps up, hits the free kick in. So it's like 4 free kicks we've had. Oh, sorry, no, it wasn't the free kick that went in, was it? I remember now watching it. I only watched the highlights on this. It was like a scramble. McCarthy again dropped it. I don't know if you can kind of blame him a little bit for that, but so there's three free kicks I think we've had. Milivojevic, Alexander-Arnold, De Bruyne. I don't know if there's been another one. I feel like there was another one somewhere. But yeah, McCarthy did not exactly cover himself in glory in the game, did he? And yeah, I thought Southampton were pretty terrible, to be completely honest with you. Arsenal will face tougher tests, but it's a win they needed. They've got Norwich next as well, so if they can get a little bit of momentum, then maybe they can kind of crack on back up there. I don't know if they're good enough to make up the 6 points on Man United and Wolves. I don't think they are. I think they could finish 8th or 7th potentially if they can get their asses in gear. No pun intended. Then they could do. But yeah, we've already obviously spoken about Chelsea, Man City. I didn't think Arsenal were convincing 2-0 winners, but they certainly did enough to win the game. Southampton just turned around and went, here you go, here's a free win from us. Southampton are probably safe. They're not playing for too much. It's like Newcastle now. What are they playing for, really? They've done what they wanted. Brighton need a few more points and they'll be okay. I would imagine that 38 points would be enough. I can't see any of these teams getting 11 points over 7 games. They're just that bad, really. Or all of them getting 11 points over 8 games, I should probably point out. What have we got coming up? Not too much actually coming up over the weekend. It's a little bit dry until Wednesday the 1st, so I guess people are having a bit of a break. But Villa Wolves will be fairly interesting, I guess. Villa really want to get a result there, don't they? And it's a derby, but Wolves really want to get a result because they're pushing for potential Champions League place. Watford Southampton is really important for Watford. They should be beating teams around them. Palace Burnley, battle of the mid-table bruisers. I'll be watching that one. I'll skip these two probably. We'll just watch the highlights. And then Brighton Man United should be fairly interesting. Let's see if how Brighton do after all the banter they gave for Arsenal losing to Brighton at the Amex. Let's see. That would be embarrassing. And then we got some interesting games kind of coming up. Obviously Man City Liverpool is a big one. I feel like if Man City had won, obviously this one would have been the game where if Liverpool win it, then would have been a lot riding on this one, but not really that much riding on it now, is there? I don't know when the Champions League restarts, actually. Let me just kind of get that going, because Man City are obviously still in that. I'm wondering, I had a feeling like they were going to restart it in August or something. Let me just have a look on their website. Fixtures, here we go. August. Okay, so I was thinking maybe Man City might want to start resting players, but if it's nothing till August, then like mid-August. So yeah, like what's the point? So they'll go, full on for that one probably. Yeah, so I'll probably do another video, maybe on for the Friday. We'll look at all these games here, do a bit of a long one there, because I feel like there's a few there which are pretty interesting, but and there could be some shock results. We never know, but there's nothing there which is like, there's a few must wins for the relegation guys, but I mean West Ham Chelsea will be tough for West Ham. Arsenal Norwich, I will laugh so hard if Arsenal lose that one. Yeah, we'll see anyway. But yeah, I'm going to finish up there. Maybe slightly shorter video. But it's been good to have the football back. It's been interesting. Still miss those crowds, but congratulations, obviously, to Liverpool, champions for the first time in 30 years. It's got to feel good after a couple of really close ones, and having to kind of, I guess, sit in the shadow of your Manchester rivals for so long. Must feel pretty good. Until then, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.